I've been at Raleigh North for 5 years now. So after about a year and a half after being a member at Raleigh North, I met my husband, which I didn't know he was going to be my husband then, but apparently he knew it. I've got 4 children, and I never endured any type of mental health issue. During my pregnancy, I saw that I was starting to become withdrawn, not be as active. I remember telling myself, oh, you're just tired, you're pregnant, you're just tired. But I never experienced that with any of my other pregnancies. But as time, as I became and progressed in my pregnancy, I realized something wasn't quite right. I was just not finding joy in the things that I usually would enjoy. And it was just hard to even concentrate on different things. I left work earlier, as far as before my maternity leave even really started, before I gave birth, just because I was really just withdrawing. And that was one of the things that I started to notice, that something was wrong with me. Because I didn't know what was going on, because I've never experienced anything related to depression in my entire life, regardless of all the things I had been through, that was something I never dealt with. It was dark. It was a very dark moment in my life. Knowing that who I am, and then starting to feel this way, where I didn't want anybody around, where I didn't want to go places, where I didn't want to do things. I started withdrawing from church. I was making any excuse not to have to go to service. I was making the excuse not to have to go to work. I would be crying, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just because I just had a baby, my hormones are all over the place, not knowing that this was actually a chemical imbalance in my brain. And I really couldn't help any of it. I couldn't help any of it, because I went from this person that loved to sing in front of people and even do plays and act and do all these things and be in front of hundreds of people, and I was fine, to going to work, and even going to the break room was challenging, because there was more than one or two people, because I just felt I was being judged and I was in my own head. It was horrible. The weight of it was terrible. But after talking to my daughter, I remembered that Janelle Johnson, she's one of our church members, she was a friend of mine on Facebook. She, maybe 2 to 3 weeks before that, had posted a post about postpartum depression and how real it is, how it is something real. And I remember reading that article, because again, in the back of my mind, I knew something was wrong with me. So I quickly remembered that. And the very next day, I reached out to her through Facebook, because I knew she was a therapist, and she was going to be starting her new practice and everything else. The breakthrough for me is something that Miss Janella said during one of my therapy sessions. She talked about faith without works. That is something Pastor talks about all the time. And that is something that's still big in the ministry. You know, you can't keep asking God to help, but you're not helping yourself, and you're not working towards any of that. And one of the things she had said was, you're praying, and you're really praying, but how much are you really relying on God, and how much are you trusting God to really bring you through all of this? And I'll never forget that as soon as I got back in my car after that session, I was riding in the car, and one of my favorite songs came on. I don't even know if it was the radio or if it was through my phone that it was playing, but the song, Jacob's song, and that's what by Brie, and it talks about, she's just pleading to God. I'm not letting you go until you bless me, until you change me, until you. And I remember just starting to sing, and I was just singing, and I was singing, and it was like this weight was just being lifted off of me. I don't even know how I was driving. I don't even know how I was driving, but I just remember really letting go and really starting to focus more on God, and instead of focusing on my issues and my problems and the whys and the sadness, I started focusing more on Him and turning my face more towards Him. Not just really praying, but actually doing what I'm praying about. And the weight just started coming off. And I started seeing light at the end of the tunnel. But man, when I tell you, I will never forget that moment. I knew he saw me, and I knew it was all in my head that he had forsaken me. And being able to push through that one moment, that one song, that one really letting go and worshiping and asking him and pleading, because that's all I was doing, was just pleading, triggered that healing. I remember those feelings, but they only remind me how far I came. They only remind me of how powerful the healing was, how powerful he is, that he took that away from me. Because when I tell you, I had nowhere to go, and I had, in my head, I just felt like life just stopped. For him to take that away from me, and to really see the power in his healing, it's indescribable. It really is. Of course, in a snap of a finger, all of it could have been gone, because he could do that. But sometimes he allows us to go through things so that we can be a testimony to others and help others. And that's what I pray, that this is going to be able to help others seek assistance, seek help if they even think that that is something that's going on. Whether you're a man, a woman, depression, mental health issues are real. And if you do not put the work along with the prayer, it is not going to happen.